Welcome to the show. Major foreign policy news with potentially catastrophic implications today. Something light to start the show with, right? For the first time since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, a NATO country has fired in self-defense. What happened is that Poland says 19 drones entered its airspace during a Russian strike on Ukraine. Polish forces shot down those that posed a threat. This is not like a minor border incident the way we've sometimes heard about and read about. Poland's prime minister says this is a large scale provocation. It has triggered Article 4 of the NATO treaty, which demands urgent consultations with all member countries. The Polish prime minister is saying this is the closest we have been to war since World War II. Now, this is not only, our primary concern is we don't want anybody hurt. We don't want anybody killed. By the way, the death toll in this Russian invasion of Ukraine has reached completely unconscionable numbers. I mean, just dwarfing anything going on globally since 2022. And there is, after the humanitarian concern, a foreign policy concern, a domestic concern, a NATO concern. This is the kind of crisis that NATO was created to address. The whole point of NATO is collective defense, shared deterrence, strength in numbers. But right now, the most powerful member of NATO, the United States, is led by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is skeptical of these sort of shared defense treaties. Donald Trump has spent years insulting NATO allies. Donald Trump has questioned, why should we even defend anybody? He has sometimes publicly sided with Vladimir Putin, and he has talked about who's paying their fair share and who isn't. So you've got European leaders saying we need unity. This is an urgent situation. They're talking about sanctions. They're talking about readiness. They're talking about putting more pressure on Russia. But from Trump so far, we have heard nothing meaningful. Trump went to a restaurant in D.C. last night, was booed mercilessly, asked about what's going on in Poland, and said nothing. And arguably, the part that really matters here is respect. And this is not like authoritarian. Have you said thank you? Do you respect? What I mean is, does Putin respect Trump? Do the member nations of NATO respect Trump? Putin is testing, and Putin has tested American presidents before. Under Obama, the test was Crimea. Under Biden, it was the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And now under Trump, it's direct violations of NATO territory. Is Trump going to have the testicular fortitude or even the interest in doing anything here? Because just a couple of weeks after Trump welcomed Putin to the United States in that totally farcical Alaska summit, they shook hands. They smiled for the cameras. Trump was barely able to walk in a straight line on the red carpet, but he still laid out the red carpet. Just weeks after that, and by the way, weeks after we asked, have you asked Putin for any concessions? Has Putin agreed to any concessions? We didn't really get reasonable answers to any of that. Just weeks after that, Russian drones fly into Polish airspace. Do you believe that that's a coincidence? Putin either knows or strongly suspects that Trump is not going to act decisively. And why would he? Trump is enamored with Vladimir Putin. Trump is impressed by the sort of authoritarian, dictatorial power of Vladimir Putin. He knows, Putin does, that Trump doesn't really value the NATO promise that if you attack one country, you're really attacking all of the countries. Trump has said it's a bad deal. He said everybody needs to pay up before we defend anybody. So the whole point of the alliance is shared defense. And Trump has turned it into a kind of shakedown where it's like, well, maybe send in some more money or do this or do that. And in fact, under Trump, the peace president, remember, he's the guy with the peace president, we have seen Russian drone and missile launches increase dramatically. We have a chart on the screen showing you that. So that is not a sign that Vladimir Putin respects Donald Trump or fears Donald Trump in any way. We have everybody right now asking the same question. Is Trump actually strong, or is the tough talk only an act? Strength is not about photo ops and loud threats. Strength is about showing that when allies are tested, the United States is going to show up. And history tells us that these moments can be turning points. I hope we're not heading to World War III. There are commentators, analysts, pundits, as many people incorrectly pronounce it, who have been saying for a decade we're on the brink of World War III, or for 2 decades. I'm not saying we're on the brink of World War III, but the Polish leader has said this is the closest we have been to war since World War II. Now, when you think about NATO, NATO's credibility only works if adversaries believe it will respond as one. If that belief collapses, deterrence collapses. And so this is a test for Donald Trump, not only insofar as is he going to be there in terms of American responsibilities in this instance, what would it signal to authoritarians and autocrats around the world more generally about the future if Donald Trump goes, Right now, Poland is calling for greater NATO support. Europe is moving quickly. Trump so far is standing still. And if he continues to stand still, it's going to be weakness. Now, this doesn't mean Trump launches a war. That's not what we're talking about. Right now, it's not even about that. Putin doesn't even think Trump gives a damn about this. The question is Trump even going to signal, hey, we are part of this shared defense agreement. We are going to uphold our responsibilities there. So the question of whether Putin respects Trump, that question is gone. The answer is no. The remaining question is, does anyone respect Donald Trump? And we may find out very, very soon.